to go to Sugar Hill way up in Harlem. If you miss the A train.
I came from a very musical family. My dad and mom were both singers. My dad played trumpet, my mom played violin, and there were 7 children in the family. We all sang together in car rides. We'd be singing harmonies and rounds, and there was always music in the house. We took piano lessons, we sang in high school. It was wonderful. My primary instrument is piano. I also play organ, I play guitar, and I sing. And I took up cello as a secondary instrument, and now I really love that. I have a lot of focus on that now. I love classical music. I love Bach. I try to start every day playing some Bach on the piano. And to me, it's about the relationship, making music with other people too. I love accompanying, because I can support another person sounding really good on their instrument. I think there's a huge correlation between me as a musician and me as a mother. I have 6 children, and a lot of the musical opportunities that I've had around New Rochelle were related to raising my children, because again, it's the idea that you're putting someone else forward in the best possible light. You are helping that person realize their potential. My mother grew up in a small town in South Dakota, and she said before any town meeting, school meeting, people would sing together. And I really wish we did that. I wish Congress did that. I wish City Council in New Rochelle did that, because if you have sung something together, you have automatically put yourselves in relationship with each other and said, we are in harmony, we are not in opposition, we are in unity. That's a very profound place to be in relationship.
I really do feel like, these other people that are being honored are such heavy hitters, and I'm like, huh? And then there's me.
Yeah, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. I left when I was a month old, so I don't have an accent. I wish I did, but when I fake it, it just doesn't sound right, and my kids know it, so I don't even try. But my mother is from Jamaica. My dad was from Guyana, and I grew up in Brockport, New York, which is a great place. It's a suburb of Rochester, way up there in upstate New York, the real upstate New York. People call Westchester upstate New York, but people who live in the real upstate New York know that it's much farther away. When I was in high school, even when I was in grade school, I knew I was heading towards becoming a writer. I remember starting a school newspaper back when I was in grade school, back when we still had blue Ditto paper, so that's a long time ago. That's when I first started sort of printing up my stories, printing up my own sort of private newspaper to distribute to other kids, because I thought information is important. It's important to spread the things that you know, spread the things that you know are true, and really get a conversation going. That was an important part of society, of school, of community. That's something I was really into even back then. But I also always wanted to be a novelist. I worked at USA Today, and after USA Today I got a job at Time Magazine, and I became the music critic of Time Magazine. And as a music critic, I interviewed all sorts of interesting people, everyone from Jay-Z to Bruce Springsteen to Bob Dylan to Aretha Franklin to Radiohead, spending time on the bus with them in Scotland. So I got to interview a wide range of my favorite people. My best filmmaking experience, my central one actually, was working on Mr. Dynamite, The Rise of James Brown. It's a film, it's a biography of the life of James Brown. It aired on HBO. It was directed by Alex Gibney, a guy who won an Oscar for his documentary Taxi to the Dark Side. Martin Scorsese, the great director, ended up, along with Alex Gibney, the great documentary film producer, ended up hiring me to co-write a book about the blues to go with a PBS documentary they were doing called Martin Scorsese Presents the Blues. So I worked on that. Next for me, I'm working on my next novel, continuing to work at the Wall Street Journal, and those are two things that really, are very important to me. I also continue to teach at Iona, which is a great place to be.
Well, I loved pop-out books as a kid, and they were always in my home. And my mother constantly was buying different ones, and I used to love to look at them, and they were really exciting. When I finished art school here in New York at School of Visual Arts, I really wanted to do something different, something that stood me apart from everybody, and I really tried to make a pop-out book. In doing so, I really created a new art form. It was something that was popping off the paper, that was 3D, and I was one of the first to use this form of art as an art form. And that's how it all started, and that was back in 1981. The Yankees had called and asked if I was interested in creating a painting for Derek Jeter for a final career piece. And they were interested in giving it from the Yankees to Derek Jeter, but they wanted me to make the presentation on the field. I said, no problem, I could be there. I've met many presidents and famous celebrities, especially through a lot of these events that I'm doing. I've met some of my favorite idols, Madonna to Michael Jordan to Rosie O'Donnell to Bill Gates and his wife. But I think out of everybody that stands out is Hillary Clinton. I did an exhibit with Hillary quite a number of years ago already at the Tennis Open. She introduced me and helped MC the event with me, and it was a really great thing to have her, to show her my artwork, and now to see it come full circle that she could possibly be our next president is a really cool thing. I've been doing installational art. I just finished a big project at JFK for American Airlines. I did a whole corridor of artwork, 3D pieces, sculpture, and it took me a few years to finish. I finished, it's now been about a year and a half, and it's been a big achievement for me, and many, many millions of people see it every year, and it's been a really big thing for me.
Because a job came open at MTV, and I was living in Chicago at the time, and the role was in Chicago, and at 26 it was a very strong draw for someone like myself to go work at a company like MTV at the height of cultural relevance, and it was a great opportunity to join Viacom, and I've been here ever since, 17 years later. So a very good friend of mine who had joined the board of the Dance Theater of Harlem brought the executive director and himself to a meeting with me to recruit me to join the board about 8 years ago. And I was obviously familiar with Dance Theater of Harlem, the long history and reverence for the group, and was really honored to have an opportunity to join the board. It was at a time when Dance Theater of Harlem had disbanded their professional company and really was operating just as a school and as a pre-professional program. And it gave an opportunity for me to come in on the board and join other board members and staff and team in building back the organization to the place where we actually now are in our third year of having a professional company. And it just so happens that about a year ago I was named as the board chair. I love the arts because it's very individual. Everybody's got art inside of them, and everybody has an opportunity through a multitude of mediums to find a way to get that art to others and share their vision and their art with others. To get an award from an organization that really makes sure that art is part of my children who are in the New Rochelle Public Schools and my community, to give that to the world, I'm just extraordinarily honored to be part of this evening tonight.
We were saving that bottle for our 60th anniversary. Missed it by a year. Open it.
Nah, you can still wait.
Let's drink to your grandfather.
Having the career that she had and raising 6 children is pretty remarkable. And yet, she's never thought of herself, you know, she's never thought highly of herself. She does the work, she you know, changes the diapers, she is humble and modest and really enjoys simple things, and you know, has always been about family.
Any others. Now, when a man and woman love each other very much, they share a very special kind of hug.
I had a younger brother, Tony, who was a few years younger than me, maybe 3 or 4. And the first time we saw our mother was at an old place called the Olney Theater in Washington, D.C., outside of Washington. And it was in a play called The Matchmaker, and she played the eponymous role. She played the matchmaker, Dolly Madison. And when she came out, we were up in the lighting booth, but it wasn't soundproofed. And she came out, and my brother Tony was about 3 or 4, started, "The witch! The witch!" And she started yelling it, and I said, "No, it's not the witch, it's Mom!" And we both started, "Hi, Mom! Hi, Mom!" You know, until they dragged us out.
Look at this one. Ah.
No, ma'am, I'm not gonna look. You're not gonna get me this time.
Oh, we had fun that day.
Ma'am, it is not working.
Oh, I'd forgotten this. This has got to be the handsomest picture of you I ever laid eyes on.
Invariably, if I went out with my mother to the theater, usually people would wait until maybe she went for a break or something, and then they'd always come to me and just say, "We love her." People would just come up to me and say, we love your mother. Is that your mother? We love her. And she inspires that kind of admiration and love, and I think that comes from just what she has brought to her work.
Actually, Yorkshire pudding was invented in the late 1770s during a beef shortage. A person could be given a little bit of beef and soak up the gravy with the pudding, thereby fooling his stomach into thinking he was having a fuller dinner than he actually was.
You must take the A train to go to Sugar Hill way up in Harlem. If you miss the A train, you'll find you've missed the quickest way to Harlem. Hurry, get on, now it's coming. Listen.